The next speaker is OKURA Masafumi. He has been doing Ruby Rails development over the past 5 years with some experience of developing with Go. He started using Vim just when he started his professional career and is still learning to master Vim. The title is A Day in the Life of Ordinary Vimmer. Please start.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Are you guys sleepy? No? Did you have a cup of coffee already? Okay. Okay, so let's get started. The title is A Day in the Life of an Ordinary Vimmer. So anyway, VimConf, I really love this conference, and I'm really proud to be here, especially this time with the author of Vim itself. And I can easily assume that all of us here use Vim or NeoVim, maybe both, every day. And that's a really good thing, but here's one question. What's a typical day of the ordinary Vimmers? So this question is important because if we know the answer of this question, we can get some hints to improve our daily Vim usage, which means our quality of life also improve. But before we get started, let me introduce myself a little bit. That's all. But the important part is I'm not the author of Vim plugins. My VimRC is just like 100 to 100 lines of code, not like 10,000. So I have only 5-year experience, not 20 years. So I'm quite an ordinary average Vimmer. So this presentation, here's some info. First, I will show you how I use Vim in 3 cases. I will show you later. And for whom, target audience is from beginner to intermediate, but I guess experts can also take something away from this presentation. And how long? 20 minutes long, including demos. So I hope demos will succeed. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are mainly 3 use cases of Vim or NeoVim I use every day. One is daily local development, which you also do most of the day. For me, it's Rails. And second use case is code reading, which I'll talk about it more later, but I will also read Rails code to debug sometimes. The third one is editing, viewing files in remote servers, or recently maybe in Docker containers. Well, I don't use Docker in my company or in my personal project, so I don't mention Docker. Okay, so the title was like A Day in the Life. So let's start from the morning, daily local development. But before going further, I think I need to mention why not modern editors, because there are so many good modern editors around. Why do we use Vim? Well, there's no need to answer this question for people inside this room here, but there are so many people who don't use Vim, so this slide is for them. Well, Atom is great, but I'm so accustomed to Vim, and its Vim plugin is actually not really that much great. So, well, this is kind of weird reason because it assumes that I use Vim already. And VS Code is also great. And actually, this Vim emulation, Vim plugin is better than Atom's one. So I tried it, and I kind of like it. So maybe this can be an alternative. And Emacs is, well, I'm sorry, but it's just too difficult for me, or my left finger. It's important. I mean, my left finger is important. Okay, and why not IDEs? Well, this answer is kind of tricky because I'm a Ruby and Rails developer, and well, in the Ruby world, there's only one relevant IDE, that's RubyMine, and the future is fascinating, but I'm stick to Vim right now, and I hope someday Vim will get the functionality which RubyMine already provides us. And for other languages, I'm not quite sure, but I think it's a matter of choice. But VimGo is so awesome. Like last year's VimConf, the author of VimGo presented here. All right, so let's dive into the daily routine. So first of all, upgrading Vim and Vim itself. Well, probably using Homebrew, and upgrading all Vim plugins, well, daily, every morning, with plug update command via Vim plug. So as Brad mentioned before, today, there are many good Vim plugin managers, but I use Vim plug, which is so simple to use, in my opinion. And seeing Cloud's quote, well, this plugin is not that famous compared with other plugins I will mention later, so I will show you the demo within a few minutes. So I will introduce the plugins I use every day. Well, most of them you might know. Well, Vim Rails is definitely one of the most essential plugin for Rails developers. And Deoplete and Auto-Snips for auto-completions and fast code editing. Well, yeah, not auto-completion, but normal completion itself is really great. But I prefer auto-completion more because I don't need to type command every time. And Ale, this one is less common. So if you don't know about Ale, you can learn about it today. So basically, it's an on-the-fly lint plugin for Vim. And if you know Syntastic, it's a better version of Syntastic, basically. And I use Rubocop with it. And Vim Test is a testing plugin for Vim, and I will show you later. And Fugitive, Git Gutter, and Git ZV are plugins for Git. Unfortunately, Vim itself doesn't provide us a wrapper for Git, so these plugins are essential. And FZF and FZF Vim for fuzzy search, I use it quite often, and I will use it almost every day. So here are some simple demos. So I'm in the Rails repository. So can you see the quote? Actually, from here, I cannot read it. But what's it? Alan Cooper, all idioms must be learned. Good idioms only need to be learned once. So look, it's some technical quotes. It's some technical quotes. It changes every time I open Vim. Okay, so here this is the podcast app I'm creating. So this is the podcast model, which has title and description. So I'd like to add one simple function which concat title and description. I do TDD. So here I use AV command. Sorry, I use AV command to open alternative file in vertical split. This command is provided by Vim Rails. And test. Write some test. CC and describe. And this is Auto-Snips function to open snippet. And full desk. It works. It's so hard to read. Podcast, okay. Title, vim-conf. Okay. Description is awesome. Okay, and expect podcast dot full desk to equal vim-conf is awesome, right? So I don't want to go back to my terminal to execute test code. So I hit leader key and T to spawn iTerm session to run Robocop. No, sorry, RSpec. And it fails. Name error, podcast error, okay. Oh, it's capitalized, okay. This is TDD, right? This here? Okay, I can't see. Oh my God. What the fuck? Oh. P. Okay, correct. Right, run test again. Oh my God. Well, actually, my typing ability is so bad that I need auto-completion plugins. This time, what's podcast? I will do index finger type. And this time, syntax error. All right, this demo didn't go quite well, but Vim test. I showed Vim test works because, as you can see, if it fails, the result is shows here, and if there's no error, then there's nothing. So it's quite useful. Okay, so this demo will not fail. Code reading. So Vim as a code reader, so Vim is a great tool to jump through files of files. Actually, oops, sorry. Okay, and as you know, with syntax, Vim gets the functionality to jump to method definitions, and Vim itself has a rich set of tools, search tools, but we can also use external tools like AZ. There are some goodies. For example, FDF.vim, which I mentioned before, provides some convenient methods like tags and AZ, and asterisk method, asterisk commands, and control bracket commands. There's more. Rails has a pretty long name method called accepts nested attribute for. So I'd like to look up the method name. And if I use vim grep, which Vim's built-in command, and actually this won't stop within a few minutes, because vim grep is quite useful, but if the scope is so big, too big, then it takes too long to finish the search. So I stop here, and there are some errors. I use az command. Accepts nest. Accepts nested. The spell is wrong, right? Accept. It's like it yawns. So this is the output of AZ. So def. Oops. Oh my god. Def accept. So here's the method definition, right? And I already generated C tags. So this is the tags command from fdf.vim. And where it searches incrementally. Okay. So although you need to install AZ before we use az.vim, fdf.vim, it searches quite faster than Vim's built-in grep. Vim's built-in grep is also great, but if the speed is important, then you can use it. So you have options. That's an important thing. And already 3 minutes left, so I will speed up. So the important thing is that we, as a Vimmer, sometimes need to do some operations in remote servers or in Docker containers without any plugins of NeoVim or Vim8 or whatever. So it's important to use Vim's native features. So dot command and Q and macros, or like argdo commands. These are so effective that without any plugins, you can do like bulk text editing so effectively. Here's the user's tip I wish you can take away. It's pretty easy to emulate kind of isolated environment Vim for Vim. Use vi, its shell alias, vi equal vim -n, and now no plugins, command file type indent on. With this command, it actually starts up really fast. So it's a quite big bonus, and it's easy to like decouple problems between Vim itself and plugins. So vi. I wanted to demonstrate to expand this one big line of Ruby hash into like beautifully indented Ruby hash, but only like 40 seconds left. So unfortunately, I'd like to go to conclusion. So if you know how to use like macros to like do some daily job, please come to me later. Okay, so this is recap, but here's one important thing I'd like to say. Because Vim is so ubiquitous, long runs use anywhere. So this is the thing Vim, the only thing Vim has. No. The only Vim can provide us. So happy Vim life. Thank you. Oh, and there are so many plugins I introduced, so like I pasted links here.